What's going on, everybody? As always, it's your boy. They call me Jim. I'm him.
You already know, I am JOPP.
And we
We
are
are
Real Christian 100.
100.
Alright? Yes, sir.
What's good? What's good?
Man, I love doing that because now my son, I'm gonna have to get it on camera. Actually, I posted
Y'all
it.
got it, yeah. That
Yeah,
joint's
you
tough.
gotta see my son. He he does the whole Real
Yeah,
Christian
that
100
joint
joint,
is tough
and
too.
it's so cute, man. I love that kid. Shout out to Chance. That's my man.
What's up,
Um,
Ken?
but as always, man, we here. We back with another video. Took a little week off. We're gonna get into that in a little bit, but before we go there, we're gonna ask you guys to give us a like, a comment,
Comment,
a subscribe,
subscribe,
and to
tell
tell
a
a friend,
friend,
to
to
tell
tell
a
a
friend,
friend,
to
to
tell
tell
a
a
friend,
friend,
and
tell
tell
your
your mama,
mama,
your
your
baby's
baby's
mama,
mama, and
and
your
your baby's
baby's
mama's
mama's
mama.
mamas. A
Alright?
lot of them out there.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So let's get right into it, man. So, I mean, we actually last week we actually did a video.
We did.
We did a video. We came here, we recorded, and it was powerful. It was great. It was awesome. We finished the video.
And
We
guess
came
what?
back to look at the video, and it was a message on the camera that said that we were out of storage.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
That's a word right there.
man. But it is what it is. That's what happened,
We here today.
and here we are. So with that, some things transpired. Some
Mm,
things transpired from the time of recording that video until today. To the point where this podcast almost ended. Yeah, I know some people are probably happy about that, but there's more people who aren't happy about that. Yeah, man, but I almost, yeah, let me not say we, yeah, I almost called it quits and said I'm good. So, today we just kind of we want to talk about that,
for sure.
like we said that we aren't going to be a podcast. We're not going to be believers who talk about stuff after the fact. We're
Right,
going to talk
right,
about stuff as we going through it and
right.
as we dealing with it. So,
Absolutely.
although Jop and I we talked about the situation, but we never really had like a follow up on it. So, that's what we're gonna do here. We want to
Yeah.
share it with you and just talk about how we self reflected through the throughout the whole thing. So I guess I'll kick us off. So uh yeah. So, we had the issue with the storage, and
Mm,
it was just way too much to try to re-record it and try to remember the stuff that we were just talking about.
right.
It just wouldn't have felt authentic and real. So we said we were going to do it another day. Um, so then, on my end, this thing is my baby. This thing is my baby. Real Christian 100, man. It's my heart, man. I just know how important it is, how necessary and needed it is for the body and
Amen.
for the world. So for me, like, it's my family and then this.
Mm.
Like, I don't have a church home at the moment. So in outside of my Marco Polo, part of this is
Yeah.
this is church.
Right, right.
Yeah, this is church, man. The way that we're encouraged and built up and corrected, disciplined
Mm,
through it, and that's exactly what happened
right.
with this whole thing, man. So, I just hold this at a very, very, very high regard. So we were going back and forth about days and when we were going to do it and all this kind of stuff. And for me, I can be a little overzealous. I can be a bit over passionate about things. And so we had scheduled a day,
Mm,
scheduled a time that was convenient for my man's.
right, right, right.
That was convenient for my man's. I told my man's, let me know what works for you, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'll move mountains
Right,
to make sure that we do this. So then the day comes, and he hits me up at a different time
right.
and said, "Hey, yo, I'm available now." And I said, well, I'm not available now, man. You said you was available at 7. You said you was available at 7, so I adjusted my day
Right,
to
right.
be available around 7. And then he said, I can't do 7. And I said, but you said you could do 7, man. Like you said you could do 7. Um, so for one reason or another, it didn't. We didn't end up recording, as you guys see. And for me, man, I've said it before. I'm an emotionally impulsive guy, so I can oftentimes respond off of impulse. So I just took some time to myself to reflect and to think on things because I didn't want to be irrational and make a quick decision without really counting the cost, considering things, and I even sought out some wisdom. Yeah, sought out some elders and my mentors and got some advice for them because Greg was like, yeah, JOPP can piss off. Yeah, yeah, we've stopped this podcast about 5 times, and I'm
This
gonna
is
say
true.
4 out of 5 has been this guy's fault,
This is
and
true.
I'm not doing it anymore. So
This is true.
but after some, am I okay? Am I okay? Stuttering
I
like
mean,
a
I don't
bug.
know, man. You nervous, man?
Maybe. But after getting some counsel and things, and talking to a couple people, I was able to take some time and just reflect on myself.
Right.
And I was pointing the finger at him, talking about JOPP ain't doing this and JOPP ain't doing that and blah 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 blah. And whole time, the Holy Spirit's was convicting me of like, what about you though, Greg? Like, how are you impacting this situation?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure if I talked to you. I'm not even sure if I said any of this to you, but I got extremely convicted because um I'm a control freak. I like to be in control of things. Um, and like when things aren't moving, it's part of it's just it's my profession of work to like
Right.
see that things are done. I
Mm-hmm.
manage people for a living, so I'm used to giving out instructions,
Mm-hmm.
and when stuff falls through the crack, I just pick it up and I
Mm-hmm.
go and I handle it and I take care of it. So that's how I was with the podcast. It's like you know I just did everything,
Mm.
and I didn't really wasn't really asking for my man's input. I wasn't really, giving him, as much ownership that he deserves and should have with the podcast because it's our podcast. It's Jim and Job.
Right, right.
It's real Christian 100. That's us. And I was so busy pointing the finger at him that I was ignoring the fact that why would he take this as serious as you, and you haven't given him enough to feel like this is his, like he owns this just as much as you do. All you do is bark orders and tell him, we need to do this and we need to post that and do this and do that, and oh, why haven't you done this, and oh, you need to do that, and then when it doesn't get done, I pick up and I just go do it, and all that. And that's just not that's just not how things need to work. The Bible talks about don't be unequally yoked
Right.
with unbelievers, but the part about being yoked is that you guys are both going
Mm-hmm.
in the same direction. um and we have to be pulling together.
Right.
I mean, he can be pulling and I could be doing nothing, and
Right.
he's
Right.
just dragging me, or it can be vice versa. But it's holding us back if we're both not equally putting in what we need to put in. So it wasn't even that my man was that he wasn't moving. It's that I was sprinting,
Right.
and I didn't tell him, yo, sprint with me.
Right.
I ain't like sprint with me. So yeah, man, yeah. So I got more to say, but I'm gonna let you say your perspective of things from the conversation and all that.
Yeah, yeah. So my perspective is, for one, if you noticed, Greg was saying you were saying about you need time so you're not impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about when you know people, you know patterns and habits. Like if you know your brother knows you. Y'all both know each other's patterns. So I know he needed time. So I didn't hit him up on purpose. He didn't know that. He's just finding that out now. But it wasn't that I didn't care to hit you up. It was just that I know, yeah, he needs time. You know what I'm saying? So if when you're close enough to a person that you know certain things, you just allow them time. And when the opportunity presents itself, they'll talk. You don't always have to rush the process. You just gotta let it happen, let it unfold. So that's what I did on my end. I was like, yeah, I didn't I was like, I'm just gonna allow time for us to be able to figure things out. And in my mind, I was like, oh wow, okay, so your perspective on it was like me not being as committed. And I didn't look
Mm-hmm.
at it from that angle because I wasn't, when you're not when you're looking at things the way you want to, you're not able to see blind spots. Like Roddy used to talk about blind spots. And
Mm-hmm.
so you were able to identify those blind spots that I wasn't paying attention to. I'm just normally flowing how I flow. And
Mm-hmm.
how I flow is it has to be organic, has to be natural, like and the way you flow is like boom, 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 boom. This needs to be done, that needs to be done, this needs to be done. And if one thing's off, then everything sucks.
Right.
And that's not realistic, to be honest. Like I mean, yeah, to an extent it is, but sometimes you're gonna have bumps along the road. What
Mm-hmm.
matters is just staying consistent through the process. So I was under the impression like, okay, I know I got to work on these areas. But then I was like, oh, I was also like, well, I am showing up, but at the same token, I was like, but I have to do more. So it's more than just showing up, record, go home. It's like, what am I doing on my end to involve myself even more? And even if I never felt like you weren't giving me ownership, to be honest, I didn't feel like that. Now that's just a conviction that the Holy Spirit gave you
Mm-hmm.
because that was for you. But I didn't feel like that. I just felt like I'm not stepping up. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like you didn't give me ownership. I felt like, well, I'm not incorporating myself more. I'm
Right.
the one like laid back, relaxed, and you're the one that has these plans. I'm the one that has ideas, but I'm not putting the ideas forward.
Right.
So it was like I wasn't really feeling as though you weren't giving me ownership. That was just conviction for you personally. But I feel like my conviction is you need to be intentional, be more involved, um, and add more creative ideas to the podcast together.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that was my perspective. So what it helped me reflect on was, you have to be more intentional, and then also when people criticize you and critique you, you have to be willing to accept that. You don't have to be
Right.
defensive, which I wasn't. You don't have to be like, oh man, heck nah, like because I know this is a God thing. So when you have brothers who correct you, you got to be willing to accept correction
Yeah.
and move forward. You
Mm-hmm.
can't run from correction and move backwards because then you're not growing. You got to accept it. You got to move forward, and you have to learn how to make the proper adjustments. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm ready, and let's get it going." So yeah, man. So where I'm at now is just like, yeah, it's all about growth, pushing each other, confrontation, and just making sure that we're both on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know we are in terms of the podcast and what our ideas are, but it's more like, okay, let's put it together. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, man, I'm thankful that it unfolded the way it did. And look, we're here
Yeah.
recording the
It needed.
podcast, bro.
Yeah. It needed to
So
happen. Yeah.
it's good
It
stuff, man.
inspired. It inspired growth.
Yeah,
For the both of us, and that's the important thing about self reflection, man. If if you don't, and for one thing, a lot of people feel that they are good self reflectors,
right,
and I'm not saying that you're not,
right,
but even the good ones, like you said, there's still blind spots.
all the time,
Like
man,
there's still things
all the time.
that you're going to miss. Like other people always see stuff in you
Absolutely,
that you turn a
absolutely,
blind eye to, or that you're not even always aware of.
right,
So part of self reflection is seeking out, the opinions and the wisdom from those around you who know
absolutely,
you and can,
absolutely,
tell you the truth in love. Or sometimes they got to
absolutely.
beat you over the head. That's why, believers always talk about, oh, You don't judge, and you can't judge, and ultimately, we're not the judge.
Right.
Yeah, the Bible tells us to judge
Right.
plenty of times,
Right.
man.
Or
Yeah,
righteous
the
judgment.
Bible tells us to examine those fruits.
Right.
Yeah, it tells you to test them things.
Right.
Yeah, to test them fruits. To see to really see what's what, man. So I'm glad that I have a brother, and hopefully he feels he has a brother that
Easily.
that you can come to and keep it a buck.
Right.
And it's just love. Like, it's love, and it's like, okay, if I gotta take something on the chin,
Right.
I'm gonna take it on the chin. But the beauty inside that is that I tried to I tried to give him one on the chin.
Hmm.
Pause. I tried pause. I Yeah.
He said it.
And then the Holy Spirit came back with a counterpunch and said, "Yeah, but what about you, man? You're the man. Yeah, you looking at the log in your brother and the splinter in your brother's eye, but look at that
What does
log.
Bill say? You're
And you
David. Is that what he says?
Yeah, you're David.
Yeah, where's
Yeah,
David?
where is David?
You're David. I'm
Yeah, man.
dead,
So
yo.
for me, man, I'm just glad that I was able to get out of my own way.
Right.
And even, for one, I knew we were going to talk. I'm not afraid. The only person I'm afraid of confrontation with is my wife. Yeah, the only
Word.
person I don't want to go back and forth
Word. Word.
with
Word.
is my wife.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, we going we gonna rub elbows, man.
Word.
These aren't elbows, these are knuckles. Yeah, but we gonna rub knuckles, and we gonna talk things out. So I knew we were gonna talk, but like he said, and that's what's up, to give me some time, because he knows I probably would have said, out of anger and frustration, I would have probably said something ignorant that just would have made things worse. And then I really would have been like, yeah, to hell with this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out of it, just would have been out of just being stubborn
Right.
and out of pride. And as much as I know that God has called us to do this, I'd have been like, oh,
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing it. Or if I do it, I'm gonna just intentionally try to piss him
Mm.
off, and
Right.
I'm gonna do it on my own. So I got past that place, and then I was going to just do it on my own, like, not even from a place of spite and or any of that, just for the simple fact that I know that this needs to happen, and I
Hmm.
know that it has to be consistent and weekly, and that there has to be a greater level of urgency
Right.
with it. So I was like, if he can't do that, then I know I can.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just keep going, man. But God called us to do this. He called
Amen.
us to do this together, and it stretched us. It gave us the opportunity to talk, to for me to include him and get his perspective and his things. Because one thing about Job, when it comes to social media, this guy is the social media guru of them all, and that was one thing that blew me. So throughout this whole thing, we ain't talked for about 5 days,
Hmm.
and I see my man posting all these workout videos. Yeah, my man will post 42 workout videos. And I was like, I've been asking you to make a TikTok for a month, man. Yeah, I asked you to make a TikTok for a month,
He said,
man.
man, you
You
making
can't make
12
the
post videos
you
in
can't
the
make the
gym?
TikTok, man. But as you do business and as you are in ministry, I mean, it's normal. Like,
Yeah.
it's just as easy as a conversation, man.
But
So,
I will say real quickly while we're flowing,
mm,
sometimes, well, I can only say this for myself. Sometimes when you see somebody's passionate about something, you can see where your passion lacks. And so you have to
mm,
ask yourself, am I not as passionate? Because you have to be fair to yourself. You have to say, am I not as passionate as Greg is with the podcast?
mm-hmm,
Or am I just I'm just less passionate than he is? And so I had to ask myself, like, okay, if Greg's more passionate about the podcast than you are, you need to ask yourself, Are you not as passionate because you feel as though this is Greg's thing and you just want to be a part of it? You just want to,
Mhm.
you just want to be around and you want to flow with him while he's doing it. Or do you want to be as passionate as Greg is? Do you want to be more involved because this is something that you really, really, really want to do?
Mhm.
And not just, that's my man Greg, I ain't trying to let him down.
Right.
So I had to ask myself that question
Right.
because we've had conversations before and it was like, sometimes in my mind, I'm like, I'm just not as passionate as you are when it comes to the podcast. This is
Mhm.
not now. This was prior when we used to do the podcasting.
Mhm.
I sat down, I was like, yeah, I'm clearly just not as passionate. But I was like, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate what you're doing and what we're doing. I was just like, yeah, my passion just doesn't meet his passion.
Right.
Because this is his thing. Like he drew this together. He had the idea. He asked me to come on board. So that let me know, like, yeah, this was something that God specifically gave him. And he asked me to come on board. And I had to really reflect and ask myself, like, are you really going to be as involved as Greg? And I say that to say this. You just have to ask yourself those questions and then you have to be honest. So
Mhm.
if I wasn't honest, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's just keep doing it and I'll do my thing. But
Mhm.
but I was like, nah, let me think and let me really figure this thing out. And I was like, nah, I really want to do this. Like I really want to do this. And so I was like, for one, I know I'm a runner. So whenever I'm confronted with something, I'll turn back
Mhm.
and I'll find any opportunity, any loophole I can just to run away. And so when you were like, hey man, just let me know. Like you don't have to. And so when I hear those, my triggers are like, bro, this is
Bet.
this is your opportunity, bro. The window is there, take it. And I'm just like, nah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, nah, man. And this is why it's important when you self-reflect. You have to be honest with yourself and say, like, am I only agreeing to do the podcast because I want to please my brother? I want to make him feel happy. But that's not going to make me happy
Mhm.
because I'm just going to be dragging along and I'm not really involved. But do I really, really want to be involved in this thing? Because I know it's a God thing here and I want to see where God takes it. And
Mhm.
that's what I did, man. So I said, yeah, no, I'm here.
Right.
That was my I am here, I am ready. I
Yeah.
had nothing else to say. I was
I
like,
was
nah,
surprised
like
too. I was surprised.
I was surprised.
Yeah, when
Yeah, I was surprised.
I was like, oh, okay, so my man really gonna try to act like he can't,
Yeah.
like I can't kick him off of this
Yeah,
joint.
I mean, bro, at that moment, I was like, any opportunity given, because I was like, okay, he's probably gonna respond and be like, yeah, you know what? That's why I said, man, just let me know. And I was like, he's probably gonna be like, man, I thought about a job, you my man's, and we cool. We gonna still move in love no matter what. But I just want to do this for myself. In my back of my mind, I was like, yo, if he says that after he already gave me a window, and I said I closed it, if he gives me another window, Lord, what
So
am I
that's
about to?
it.
It's like nah, but even then, it's like how willing are you to continue to push forward when there's
Hmm.
some kind of obstacle trying to push you back to your old self?
Right.
And even with the whole workout
That's
stuff,
deep.
I had that. Even with the workout stuff, I didn't realize that stuff is second nature to me. I
Yeah.
wake up, I make videos going to the gym. That's like the air I breathe, bro.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's my passion. Like
Yeah.
that's what let me know, like when you're doing something so, I mean, this is so natural, that is your passion.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're most passionate about.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean that when somebody else is more passionate than you in something, you can still match that passion, bro. It's
Hmm.
still very possible to do that.
Right.
And that's why I'm here. Because I'm like, bro, no, I can absolutely be as passionate. It's just gonna require tweaks, adjustments, and that's all
Hmm.
it takes.
Right.
How hard am I willing to work at it?
Right. Like even
That's
with
it.
your workout stuff, like your passion for that grew
Right.
as time went on.
Right.
First, like
Right.
you were where I'm at
Yeah, nah,
right
right.
now, where dread it. Yeah, yeah, dread it. Yeah, my man asked me if I wanted to go to the gym
Word,
today. I
word.
said, yeah, we're okay. Maybe tomorrow.
Hey, I'm dead.
Yeah, but then as you do it, and as what's the name? Emotional health? No, it wasn't emotional health and
Hmm.
spirituality. Was it? No, it was the book. Your man's
Uh,
Evans,
Tony Evans.
Tony Evans.
Yeah, Kingdom and Rising.
Yeah, you got to
Hmm.
show up,
You got to show up,
be
be present,
present,
be
and be
consistent, and
consistent.
that's it.
And that's how passion and things begin to grow inside of you. So let's give the people some closing words on self-reflection. Who want to go first?
I'll go first. Just knock out the way. So self-reflection, keywords. Just a word of encouragement is to be honest. And I know, and I
Hmm.
think you have to realize you're going to be biased because you're yourself.
Right.
So you're always going to be biased with yourself because you're comfortable and you're most comfortable with yourself. So when you're being honest and transparent, you have to be willing to be vulnerable to ask people around you because they can see things you can't. So you have to ask them, what is it about like certain things that you notice about you have to be very mindful about that. So be honest, know that you're biased to yourself and to seek out wise counsel around you like Greg did with the whole podcast. You have to seek out the counsel around you because as you're self-reflecting, they're going to help you see areas that you can't reflect on, that you won't reflect on because you're too comfortable with yourself. So be honest and seek wise counsel.
Right. You took what I was gonna say.
Hey man.
That's okay. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna follow the Holy Spirit, and that's my word of encouragement. Follow the guidance of the Holy Spirit, man. Take your time. You don't got to rush anything when it comes to self reflection. You really have to be open. You got to be open, and you have to be open to the Holy Spirit. You know, saying some things and making you feel some type of way about some things about yourself or how you handle stuff or things like that. Um, because ultimately the Holy Spirit is he's here to be our helper. He's here to be the voice in the back of our head,
Right.
or that internal struggle
Right.
that helps us get out and transform more into the image of Christ. So, as you're spending time self-reflection, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to seek out that wise counsel. All of it starts with just being open to the Holy Spirit. And now that I'm just thinking about it, one of my boys, Troy, he asked us a question in our Marco Polo group talking about, where is your altar? Like, where do you go to hear from God? Where do you go to lay down your burdens or your concerns and your cares and things like that to the Lord? And that's where it starts, is
That's
laying
good.
all that stuff out on the altar before God, handing it over to him and trusting the Holy Spirit inside of you to just lead, guide, and direct you throughout the situation. So yeah, guys, we're here. I told y'all that we coming, and we coming. We ain't going nowhere. We gonna be here for the rest of your mother loving life. That reminds me of I was just listening to it the other day, the G Unit freestyle to the victory beat.
Hey, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, 50 said that at the end of it. But as always, guys, we gonna tell y'all to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, and tell your mama, your baby's mama, and your baby's mama's mama. All right. As always, you guys got video ideas, hit us up.
Let us know.
Let us know. I hit my mic.
Let us
That's okay. Give us a comment, give us a like,
please.
All that good stuff.
Please,
Until
man.
Then, we're gonna catch y'all next week. All right.
Please.
Bye.